Morning everyone. So, another live. Let's see how today goes. I was going to do a live yesterday, but I woke up and it was raining. It's a beautiful day. The smoke has cleared, the burning has finished. You can see the mountains again, except that it's raining and there's cloud everywhere, so can't really see the mountains. I love the rain. The problem with that is that rain never makes you feel productive. So I woke up, I got all ready to hit record, I went to film something, and the lighting was terrible. Everything just failed. Like, I went to talk and failed, I went to do some writing and failed. So I did the only thing you could do. I curled up with a coffee and read a book. And it was a great day, and it reminded me that, you know what, as much as we have stuff going on, as much as we're trying to do things, as much as we are focused on getting somewhere, sometimes you need to just kick back and chill and take some time for yourself. So while I was talking yesterday, I mainly just wanted to get on and say g'day, because I wasn't feeling productive. And same thing today, you know, just hey, how you doing guys? It's good to have you out there. I did make a few mental notes about the things that I wanted to talk about. Two in particular, because these are kind of things that are going on at the moment. The first one I wanted to talk about was paralysis of choice. This is in regards to a book that I'm reading at the moment, and the second one was in regards to drive versus reflection. Now, they both relate back to the journal, but they're both outside of the journal because, you know, we all have this stuff going on. So today, I'm only going to talk on one, but I wanted to talk about paralysis of choice. Now, one of the first times I heard this saying, and one of the moments that I still think on when I think about paralysis and choice, is the documentary many years ago. Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor did two motorcycle documentaries. Long Way Round, where they rode from the UK to New York, and Long Way Down, where they rode from Scotland to the southern tip of South Africa. Now, these are two of my favourite documentaries. I watch them at least once a year. They're fantastic. They really inspired a lot of my travel, and they made me want to get out and see more and more of the world. So, in particular, and in regards to paralysis of choice, there's a moment where they are travelling through Africa. And they meet a lot of people along the way. It's cool, man. They deal with charity, they deal with a lot of people that they meet, and it's beautiful interaction between human beings. One of the things that the documentary does is it proves that no matter what we hear, hey Shane, hey Grant, how are you guys? No matter what we hear about what's going on in the world, like, the world is so full of fear with the media, and, you know, this is bad and these people are killing these people and we should hate these people. One thing that these documentaries do is they just show that, you know what, on a one-to-one basis, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, people are inherently good. People have a story, you know, people want to share their lives with you. They just want to know, you know, what you're doing in your life. And if you have the ability to sit and chat to people and just listen to them, it's amazing the stories you can pick up from their lives. So, where this comes into it is, while they're traveling through Africa, they stop in at a mission. It's a group of Americans that have been in Africa for many years now, helping local communities. And they're talking to two ladies. Hey Claire, how you doing? Yeah, they're talking to these two ladies, and the moment that really hits home for me is they walk into the local shop, and most of the shelves are bare. There's not a lot of stuff there. The ladies turn around and say, you know, almost every night we eat beans and spaghetti. Days, really simple breakfast, really simple lunches. Life is simple for them because they have one choice of tomato sauce. They have one choice of spaghetti. It really boiled down for them and brought home the fact that, you know, you don't need a lot of stuff to have a good life. And one of the ladies turns around and mentions this thing of paralysis of choice. And the fact that she finds it really hard when she goes back to America because she walks into somewhere like Walmart, and where her life in Africa is very simple, all of a sudden she's inundated with 20 to 30 different choices of tomato sauce. You know, spaghetti versus ravioli versus pocket pasta. And she really brings it home that, you know, having been in the situation where she has to live a simple life, she actually feels a lot of stress when she goes back to America because all of a sudden life isn't so easy. And I get where she was coming from with that, because it's very true. At the same time, I think it's a mindset thing that if you allow yourself to be put into that situation of simplicity, you can carry that elsewhere. If you can train your head to think simply, whether it be to buy stuff or to think stuff, you know, you can take that with you anywhere in the world. So, back to the book. The reason why I wanted to talk about paralysis of choice is a part of what I do with my writing and with the journal and, you know, all the projects that I have on the go. Maybe having too much projects gives me paralysis. I just need to focus on one thing. But I read a lot, and I'm always looking for new books to read. And a friend of mine recommended a book for me called The One-Page Market Planner. It's by an Australian guy named Alan Dibb. Now, awesome book. I recommend it to everybody. I'm actually going to do a write-up on it. Probably a short video, because with where I'm at with Feel, Think, Do, it's going to really help. It really boils down marketing. It got me thinking about how I'm overthinking things and how that is stopping me from, you know, just pushing forward. I just need to get shit done. And this is what Feel, Think, Do is about. You know, you get the emotions, you apply the logic, and you create action to go and do those things. Now, the downside to reading this book, and this is the paralysis of choice, where I had started to get to the point where I knew what I was going to do for my marketing. I knew how I was going to set up my Kickstarter. I knew what I wanted to offer people. I knew what I wanted to portray to people. I had been through the process and I had dealt with how I was going to do things. Then I read this awesome book, and all of a sudden I start second guessing and overthinking everything. And not in a bad way. It's not that Alan Dibb was giving me bad advice. It's that he was giving me such good advice. And that's where I started to stall. Because as I'm reading this great advice and these new ideas and all this sort of stuff, I started overthinking about what I was already doing. And wondering, am I doing it right? Am I selling myself short? Is this going to fail because I haven't considered that? You know, do I need to do this instead? How do I get in contact with these people? How do I connect with this group? And it threw me back like a good couple of weeks, because where I was feeling certain in what I was doing, all of a sudden I was uncertain again. So I think we should all read. You should always be out there reading and expanding your mind and looking for new ways to look at stuff. But I think at the same time, when you hit on something, so put it into the context of Feel, Think, Do. You've been through Hey boy! So my local coffee owner's watching me. He's like just there. That's cool. Hey Sharon, how are you? So what we're talking about is paralysis of choice at the moment, and how in trying to sometimes do a good thing, it ends up being a bad thing. And I'm putting it back to a book that I'm reading at the moment to help me with how I'm kicking off Feel, Think, Do. So, reading is good. You should be expanding, you should be looking for things to do, that's not a problem. When you go through the process of identifying your emotions, removing your emotions, and applying the logic, okay? Emotion is kind of your flight of fancy. This is where you are big picture, free form, flowing, anything happens, just go with it, okay? Part of removing the emotion is to start applying logic. And this is where you start to put things into compartments a little bit. You're starting to niche down, you're starting to narrow down. And from that application of logic, so once you have a clear path of, okay, I'm going that way, then you look at, if I'm going that way, what am I going to do to get me from here to there? And you have to focus. You have to start to give yourself a path. This is not to say that you don't stay open to things coming in, because part of it is adjusting along the way. So sometimes you need to stop reading. Sometimes you need to close yourself off to external impetus, okay? Reason being is if you leave yourself open to it the whole time, you can put yourself backwards and you do start to second guess. So when it comes to action, when it comes to getting from here to there, stop reading, close yourself down a little bit. That way you can focus on what you're doing. You can focus on where you're going, okay? Take the first step, start the journey and get down the path. Once you are set, now I use set loosely because set kind of gives you that confining thing of, you know, blinkers on, go that way. No, I mean set as in do something. Start down the way, alright? Once you start gaining that momentum of what you need to do, then you can start to open up again. You can start to read books, because as you start to learn, you can adjust along the way. You can be reflecting on what you've already done, and you can look at it and go, okay, so that worked, that didn't work. How about I try this? Now this works in a number of ways. Quite often if you're trying something and it doesn't work, it can be depressing. It can be quite negative in how you react to it. If you open yourself up part of the way along the journey, you can look at the emotion of where you're coming from. You can apply the logic of where you are right now and where you've been, okay? And then you can adjust your action. You can turn a little bit to the left, or you can do a 90-degree to the right, whatever you need to do. I think a part of the issue, and this is what I'm struggling with, because I am right at the start of the journey for where I go with Feel, Think, Do in regards to marketing and getting it out and connecting with groups and people. So I'm stalling myself. I'm giving myself paralysis of choice before I even start. I'm pulling it from action that I have and I'm pulling it back into my head. And that's what I can't do. I need to just get that first step happening, and I'm working on that. At the moment, I'm waiting on things outside of my control before I can take my first step. I'm working on stuff in the background. So, read, learn. This is always a good thing. Once you define your action, once you know exactly what you want to be doing and you know the first step you need to take, remember, do is all about small steps. It's about taking that next step to start you on the path of being where you want to be. So get that first step happening, get the journey going, then start to open yourself up. Hey Bern, how you doing? then start to open yourself back up so that you can adjust as you go. You know, you will start to get new ideas from books that you read, people that you talk to, shows that you watch. You know, this is the joy of the internet. There's YouTube, there's articles, there's blogs, there's stuff everywhere. But to take away that paralysis of choice, remember that sometimes you need to shut yourself down. Just at the beginning. Have the ideas, have the emotion, withdraw the emotion to work out where you need to go, what you need to be doing, and start doing it. Focus. For the moment, you have those blinkers on just for a little bit, you know, work out where you've got to go. Once you start gaining that momentum, open yourself back up again, you know, start looking at what you're doing right. Start looking at what's not quite working for you. Maybe your goals change along the way. Maybe as you start to talk to people and you start experimenting and trying things, maybe people, you know, you just realize that, okay, I thought I was going here, but where I actually need to be is over here. And adapt. This is one of the rules that really came out with Feel, Think, Do, is I had a very specific plan with what I wanted to do with this journal. And my testers blew that out of the water. Like from day one, they annihilated my expectations. And I thank them for it every day, because Feel, Think, Do has become so much more than what I thought it would be. And I'm having to adapt. I'm having to be fluid in my approach. So as a lot of the questions flew back and forth along the testers, it ended up that there was only one rule. When it comes to Feel, Think, Do, it's an ideology, it's a book, you know, you open it, you write in it, but the one rule was adapt. Take this platform, this idea, this methodology, apply it to yourself. Because we are all different. We share commonalities, but in our day-to-day lives, we are all a little bit different. And we will all use this thing differently. So that was a big mind shift for me. Me personally, I adapt, I'm fluid, that's what I do. But I was trying to instill how I use the journal onto others. And I couldn't do that. So I changed it. One rule, adapt it, be fluid, use it however you need to do it, you know. So that's helped move the journey, and I'm focusing more and more on that as the book starts to go into production. So, yesterday, raining, not productive at all. Wanted to come on and chat to you guys, didn't get to, so here I am today. Came on to say hi. You know, leave a comment below, leave a question. If there's particular stuff that you want me to talk about in regards to the journal or just in general, you know, I work best feeding off other people. So, you know, I would love to open up communication, and it gives me ideas for what I want to talk about instead of just sitting here talking into a camera. So today's talk, paralysis of choice. You know, keep expanding your mind, keep looking at stuff, but sometimes to create action and to get yourself moving on the path, you do need to shut yourself down, at least momentarily, so that you can make things happen. Alright, so the other one I made a note of at the beginning, so if you've just joined me, there's two things I was going to talk about, or I gave myself an idea for yesterday: paralysis of choice and reflection versus drive, and how different people use their lives, and how different people used the journal for these two types of writing. That'll be the next talk, so I'll bring that then. So I'll end this now. Thank you for coming in and, you know, having a watch, guys. Nice to see you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.